Hello, people. He's Robbie, and I'm Devin.
I'm Robbie.
And I'm Devin.
But I'm Robbie.
But I'm Devin. And this is Wild Stallions.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not?
No. This is our journey.
Oh.
This is a serious time. So, let's talk about plateaus.
So you can't say serious time.
Let's talk about plateaus. So, since the last time we saw you, YouTube, we fell the fuck off. Fell off our diet. I fell off my meds for about a week. And we got lazy.
A week? God damn, I thought you'd only been off of them a couple days.
A week. A whole week.
Why didn't you say anything before? Speak.
Is what it is. Was what it was. We're attempting to pick ourselves back up and dust this thing back off. We fully intend to lose the weight and get healthy. But you know, mental health is important too. And when your mental health suffers, your physical health suffers. So that happened. I let myself run out of meds due to a miscommunication with my mental health facility. And I'm going to tell you a story, YouTube. It's not a fun story.
It's about money that we can't get done.
Yeah, we pump. Give us money. No.
Patron. Patreon.
Patreon.
Patron.
We do have a Patreon, and before I tell you the story, I should probably plug our Patreon. It's patreon.com/gothparty423. I believe that's right. Check the link in the description. The link will be in the description. So on to my story about how I got to here. Because I don't think I've ever said this on camera. I'm fairly sure I haven't. After my first marriage crumbled, we're going to skip that. I was a drug addict, she was a drug addict. We loved each other. It didn't work. That's the short version. I got clean, she didn't want to. So I left. Check out my band Sickness in the System, our song Veins, if you want to know more about that whole ordeal. I pretty much detail it at length. I met a woman on Meet Me, the bane of dating sites existence.
All of them are a pain. I don't know what you're talking about.
But
I miss the old world
Meet Me is the worst.
where you had to go out and meet people in all actuality and see what they were like before you got catfished online nowadays.
I didn't get catfish necessarily. I met this woman, and she was pretty. She was sweet. She worked 2 jobs. Looked great. Everything seemed perfect. Didn't do drugs. Said she had a little boy. I was cool with that. I was like, whatever, you know. We spent every waking hour together for about 3.5 months while I looked for a job. If she wasn't at work, which I would sit at her job with her, which, you know, she worked at McDonald's. I sat in the lobby. Because she quit one job to have more time with me, which should have been a red flag in the first place. Get money.
Money should come before the relationship.
Especially a new relationship. that new anyway. So fast forward, we're in love. I think she's amazing. Everything seems perfect. Little lies start happening. Little teensy lies. She lied to me about her folks. She said her parents were dead. I was like, that's tragic. She was like, yeah, my aunt raised me. Turns out her mom was her aunt. Quote unquote. Not really. She just lied to me about her parents because she didn't want me to meet them. Fast forward about 6 months. She comes up, I'm pregnant. Well, you haven't left my side, take this pee test in front of me. For those of you that don't know, I'm 99.9999 repeating percent sterile due to an injury. I think I discussed that on camera. It's completely unrelated to the story. And the one thing that is related is the doctors told me that if I ever got a woman pregnant, I should just go ahead and marry her. It's a miracle. So I did. Shotgun wedding in a courthouse.
Without your mama.
Without my mama. She was pissed. So we go through this whole pregnancy, and I keep catching her in little white lies about things. Nothing serious, just little white lies. And I'm like, huh, that's odd. Her name was spelled very particularly, again, for my own protection and protection of those that know me. I'm not going to say her name, but it was spelled differently, and she had a very common last name. Her first name was a common name spelled very, very weird. Some extra letters that aren't normally there. I know that's confusing, but just roll with it. And when it came time for, sonograms, and I think that's what those things are called, pictures of the baby in the womb. I don't know.
Pap smear.
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. There we
Pap
go.
smear, whatever.
The ultrasound things. Her name was
I don't
misspelled.
know. I'm not a woman.
All these doctor's documents have her name spelled wrong. Her first name. The last name was super common. So, comes time for us to have the baby. I'm 40 minutes away, basically, because I didn't drive at the time. Another friend had to drop her at the hospital and then come get me. A grand total of 40 minutes from the time they left to go to the hospital until my arrival at the hospital. When I arrived, she was outside smoking a cigarette. So I asked, I said, where's my baby? What happened? Are you okay? Where's the baby? She's like, oh, I'm fine. I lost it. And I turned into the Incredible Hulk Robbie. And I
What you gonna do, brother?
I ran into the hospital screaming. I grabbed a nurse by the shirt, threatening them, throwing chairs, and just hysterical. I'm amazingly surprised they didn't send me to jail or to a psych ward.
Where's my baby?
And someone I knew from high school recognized me and was like, "Hey, what's her name? Come talk to me. I work in the front, where people sign in and whatnot." So I go and I tell her her name. I tell her her married name because I don't know what she would have signed in under, because at this point I figured out that she was lying about pretty much anything and everything. So I give them both versions of a name, and you're really distracting.
Keep talking.
And they go, there's no one here by that record. There's not been anyone here by that record ever. She was like, well, what does she look like? I describe her. My friend from high school says, oh, she came in, sat in the lobby about 20 minutes, used the bathroom, and left. I bust into the women's bathroom, and to the women that were there that night trying to use the restroom in peace, I apologize.
Okay.
And I I start kicking stalls open looking for a baby corpse like a crazy person. And when I see there's nothing there out of the ordinary other than people trying to use the fucking bathroom in peace, I leave the hospital quietly. I go out in the parking lot and I fall to pieces. Later that night, I'm grieving. I'm just grieving because it's the only thing I know to do. It's the only thing that makes sense. She's telling me the baby's dead. There is no baby now. I'm in hysterics. I'm a wreck. I'm shaking. I'm crying. And she goes, "Hey, let's have sex." Now, I at the time, I wasn't super familiar with childbirth because, you know, it just wasn't something I ever concerned myself with. I know where the baby came out, and you know, that's not something that you want to put stuff in immediately after. So red flags start going up, and I lost it. I tried to kill myself. I ended up in a rehab facility because I had taken drugs and was trying to kill myself with a safety pin, as embarrassing as that is. Because
Safety pin?
we didn't have any knives, so I was just jamming a safety pin into my vein, hoping that, you know, it would be enough. I was also high out of my mind.
Robbie, there's needles as big as safety pins.
It was the only thing I had at the time, and I was hysterical. How about not being a dick?
Well, I hugged myself.
You see my big ass?
I also tried to overdose on Delata. Taking a handful of those and muscle relaxers, that shit didn't work either. You were the last person I would have talked to if I would have died that day.
I should punch you in the head. I'll do it later, not on camera. Anyway, back to my story. I went to rehab. And while I was in rehab, she brings me a picture of my daughter, who I had named Zoe Elizabeth, after my mom, and a name I always loved. She goes, "By the way, this is Zoe. Changed her name." Had her at my parents' house about a week ago. They're raising your daughter. You'll never see her. While I was in rehab. Not to mention she brought me dirty clothes. So, defeated, I got out. She came and got me. I packed up and went to my grandmother's house. Now, you would think this would be the end of the story. It's not. It gets worse.
Is this the same psycho that poisoned you?
Yeah. This all leads up to that. Devin giving away spoilers. But I went back to my home that was in my name that I paid all the bills at, and was going to get my stuff, and she caught me off guard. She apologized. She promised to let me see my child if I came home. So with the hopes of seeing this mythical baby that may or may not exist, I went back. At the time, I was fairly fit. I mean, I wasn't like Adonis or anything, but I was fairly cut. I worked out. I ran 5 miles a day. You know, I was healthy. And shortly after returning, no baby, I started getting sick. And finally, one day, she produces a baby. So I call my mother. I'm excited. I just want to be daddy. That's all I wanted. And Mom wants her grandbaby, so after probably 45 minutes to an hour of coercing her to let my mom take my daughter, spend time with her grandmother, she agrees. But she says, "Don't change her diaper. She's super sensitive, and I'm the only one that can change her diaper." My mom raised 2 kids, not to mention countless other hoodlums. Mom says, fuck that. And she's like, she tells me and my brother she's just going to go get diapers. If the baby needs to be changed, she's just going to buy diapers because she wouldn't give her a diaper bag. Baby goes to the bathroom as is expected.
It's a little boy, wasn't it?
That baby had a penis. She had borrowed a baby and dressed it up like a little girl.
Ah, damn, that sounds like my childhood with having older sisters.
And so I left her again. I went back to my grandmother's. And she calls me with a sob story talking about it was a mistake. How do you not recognize your own child? How do you not realize you have the wrong baby? And why is this baby dressed up in girls' clothes? Turns out it was the mutual friend that drove her to the hospital's niece, or nephew, that she had been watching, and she had borrowed. And so at that time I decided I'm not leaving my house. Her name was on the lease. The police got involved several times. She tried to stab me a couple times. Shit was insane. It was like a Lifetime movie. I couldn't make her leave, but every time the police came, they made me leave. And eventually, I just terminated my lease and I moved. And she got in my head. So I let her back in. She said she had nowhere to go. I'm a soft-hearted idiot. And after a while, things normalize, or as normal as I can get when you're living with a psycho who's trying to kill you. And I enrolled in college because I lost my job because of her, and other various details I'm probably forgetting because time. And I'm enrolled in school, I'm working out, I'm bodybuilding, you know, getting ripped. And I start getting sick. Very sick, like AIDS sick. And I thought to myself, oh God, did I get AIDS from a dirty needle or some fucking crazy nonsense? Because suddenly, I can't get out of bed, throwing up all the time. My skin's turning gray, my hair was falling out, I was rapidly gaining bloat weight, water weight, at an unnatural rate. There was no way it was any kind of natural thing. And, you know, I call my mom and check in with my mom every so often. And she's like, son, you're not okay. You need to go to the hospital or something. And I just wouldn't do it out of pride. Also
Reconnected.
fear. At this point, she starts moving people into our home to keep me from leaving. People with children. She would threaten to hurt the children every time I'd go to leave. So I stuck around for the kids. It was different people first. It was my brother and his girlfriend. I threw them out on the street without any explanation. To him, I'm sorry. He still doesn't completely forgive me for that today. But I was trying to protect him, and I guess he didn't see it that way. He saw it as me throwing him out on the street. And then it was my godson and his parents, and I just flat out told them, I was like, you don't want to be here. And again, not gonna say any names, but my godson's mother comes to me and tells me that she told her that she was poisoning me. She was going to kill me. And I'm like, no, I'm just really sick. I'm really, really sick. Something's wrong with me, but I don't think that, even being as nuts as she was the last thing I expected. And after a while, I got everyone out, and I called my mom. I said, Mom, please come get me. I'm gonna die here if you don't. So my mother, my tiny sweet mother, turns into this raging beast and just comes and tears the door open and pulls me out of there. I lost everything I owned. It's nuts. I almost died. And there was no baby.
You know, that's why I have a rule of 5 years before I'll ever even consider marriage. I have to know and be with a female for 5 years. I wouldn't care if she had my baby or not.
I was trying to do what was right.
I know.
I was young and stupid.
I know. I came up with my rule when I was young, though, because I watched my mother go through divorce after divorce from psychotic man after psychotic piece of shit, and it just got worse and worse. My sister was abused. My mother's last ex-husband, his brother, sexually assaulted me. His name was Mario Villanueva. He was a very evil man. Sold a lot of drugs. First real dope dealer I've ever met. One of the only ones. But watching people go through divorce after divorce will help to steer you away from marriage.
I guess the takeaway from all this is take care of yourself first.
Be careful who you trust.
That too. I'm still here, obviously. I am crippled with illnesses from the poisoning. Boric acid is what she was using. I didn't press charges. I got a restraining order. And here I sit before you today. I'm alive. Fat. Sick. Disgusted. Disgusted at the choices younger me made. And I hope that me spilling my guts helps somebody somewhere rethink a bad choice. Be it dope, women. Not all women are bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is be careful who you trust. Like Devin said. Trust your gut. And don't ever just do anything because you think that you have to.
Or it's the right thing to do, because not every decision you make that you think is right. I made a decision one time because a man was fixing to beat a woman I was with. I stabbed that motherfucker 5 times. That decision was stupid. Of course, it was better than the hammer, I guess, because then he'd be dead. Which I guess was the end goal for that one, but it didn't turn out that way.
So cringe crew. Don't beat yourself up. Never, ever beat yourself up. Things happen. Bad things happen to good people. This video is kind of long. I'm going to give you one more story. Then we're going to go for now.
There was this boy.
No. Once there was this boy who know.
Got into an accident.
Devin. We have to bring a little humor into this. But I want to talk about my friend Lydia. Lydia is 8, I think. And she suffers from Batten's disease. I've known this little girl since she was 3 or 4. toddler. She's happy. Mom's a dear friend of mine. Hi, Alicia. Love you guys. Baden's disease is a terminal illness. There is no cure. There's no chance of survival. There are 0 cases that live longer than 15 years. And that little girl fights for her life every moment of every day. So the long short of that is she can do it. You can do it. Fight for yourself.
Don't be a pussy and take the easy way out.
Fight for yourself. Because if I could trade spots with Lydia and let her live a full normal life, I would in a heartbeat. Alright. I can't do this serious stuff anymore.
Well, you're the one who started talking about it.
Well, you know, it's the serious show. Cringe Crew. Love yourself. Love your friends.
Don't
Love your
beat
life.
yourself up, beat your meat up.
What am I going to do with myself? I can't tell because I got too much stress up on my shoulders. I tried to dust it off the best I can, but when you have stuff piling on top, bills stacking up, shit like a kid taking away, man, can you really deal with it? But hey, what do you do but go to work and try to stack that?
Launching a separate face page.
Wait 1 second.